Hello and welcome everybody back to Global Spec Racing. We are here for the third round of the season. In Tier 1, we are at the Portuguese Grand Prix in Portugal, Portimao, whatever you want to call it. And I'm Ryan Ocon. I am joined by the co-commentator of GSR Thrasher. Welcome, Thrasher.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, good to have you. Your audio is included. That's awesome. All right, so as you could see, it is wet. It's very wet, actually. But some people have chose the wet, some people have chose the inners. We'll follow through the session in just a moment. But quickly, I want to go over last week and a couple of the things from the league. Just making sure people know that the stream is on. I know people are being a little bit impatient about it. I understand. Trust me, I wanted the stream on too, but just had to hang on for a moment. We have a spinner. But quickly, let's go over last season's race of Portugal. So, in last season's race of Portugal, Crash will know a little bit more than I do, but if you go back to the race results from Portugal last season, that was the last race that Jab didn't finish on the podium. Because currently, your championship leader and your championship champion from last season is on a run of 7 consecutive podiums. Portugal was the last time he didn't finish on the podium. Last season, there was 8 finishers, most of them being reserves. Yuri Komak won the race with Cameron on the podium, both being reserves, and then Boker finished 3rd. Fastest lap went to Astro. Pole went to Jab. Jab DNF'd in this race, actually. Now, Thrasher, do you remember anything from last season's race whatsoever, by chance? Or did you commentate then, or no? I think you did.
I can't remember off of the top of my head. The one thing I do remember was, I remember Jab getting involved in an incident, and it pretty much ruined the race, but I don't really remember much from last season.
Well, obviously the stream's delayed for a couple people, which is why it's not showing in the social media channel. Let me just... Yeah, good there, Thrasher. Thank you for doing that. But we're going to go over a couple people making their first starts, as well as the fact of people who have not been in Tier 1 for a while racing. So you have Jimbo reserving from Tier 2. You have Lando reserving from Tier 2. This is going to be his first Tier 1 start in the league. Let's see. Davis is a Tier 2 driver, reserving in Tier 1. And I don't see anybody else like making a first start or coming back or from Tier 2, but everybody. I think that's about it if I'm correct on that, Thrasher.
Yeah, I believe... Let me double check. I believe everybody else. Yeah, making his return, because I forgot to put this. Cormac.
Who?
FRT Cormac.
Oh.
Making, I believe, his first start in Tier 1 this season. But other...
I put him last time, right?
Yeah.
I won the race, yeah. Won the race. Yeah. You're right.
So other than Cormac, everybody else is either reserving Tier 2 or has raced this season.
Yeah. And something as well to go over is Tier 3 and 2 races from earlier today. Well, earlier yesterday too, actually. Tier 3 yesterday, me and you raced that Thrasher. I was able to score some points. Alicio took his first win, and we mentioned earlier how, if Alicio ends up getting penalized for his incident with Archie Cyberbot, if it's a 5-second, it does not affect his race win. If it's a 10-second, though, that does affect his race win. Riles also reported an incident with Shot, which could potentially change up the podium. But besides that, Alicio won the race from Shot from Riles. And that championship should continue to get interesting. Harry took a pole by a while. Now, Thrasher, correct me if I'm wrong, Harry will get moved up, or is it
Yes,
just,
so
okay, yep.
After the Tier 3 race yesterday, Harry was moved up to Tier 2.
Alright, good to know. That's good information to know, and it's very useful. I will actually put on track map. That'd be a good idea. But yeah, tier 3 yesterday. I came in last minute. I joined during qualifying. There was a glitch with the game. I couldn't select the car. I couldn't do anything. The lobby was glitched, and then I restarted my game as well. Same thing happened again. I had to restart. I didn't qualify at all. I was 18th, started 18th, and was able to finish 7th. I had a potential podium going yesterday. There was a car spun right in front of me. It's on the TikTok, you could see. There's a car spun right in front of me. I got collected in it, and it was just unfortunate because I probably maybe could have had a better result. And yeah, that sucked. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? And Thrasher, where'd you finish in tier 3 yesterday? 10th, right? Maybe? I don't know.
No, I think I was like 12th.
Okay.
Well, actually no, I didn't. Um, I wrecked off the final corner. After my race was already screwed.
Speaking of wrecking, Comac has crashed and saved it, kept going.
Oh yeah. But no, I had a decent race going, and then made contact with the driver and pretty much ruined my race. So, but
well, still finished the race though.
yeah,
matters.
I finished, but it was like 15th, I think.
True. Yeah. Well, either way. Continuing. Yeah, Derm's not wrong about that one. Can't touch him. Well, continuing on. The tier 2 race earlier today. That race was crazy and controversial at the end. Well, you had Kieran, who had 6 seconds of penalties. Wingo, who had the 5 second. And Wingo could have got that appealed. And he's going to try to still. But he tried to make a move on the race leader in the final sector. Spun out from it. Cost himself a chance of the win. Kieran, with 6 seconds of penalties, won the race in the Aston Martin. Alistair ended up getting 2nd place. With all the chances he had to possibly maybe win off penalties. He lost the chance at that. He was able to finish 2nd, though, based off the last lap spin from Wingo in the final sector. He also had as well Shot, who was on course for a podium. He's going to get the podium out of that. But the only thing that can take away from him is Wingo appealing the 5 second penalty he got after the collision under the safety car. He didn't pit, he didn't serve it, so he can get that appealed. As long as he's got the clip, as long as he's got what he needs, then he should be completely fine. He'd be able to serve it. That was an interesting race right there. Ferrari's going to continue to lead the constructors. Pole was a 16.4 there, 16.4 in tier 2 as well. So, or it was a 16.4 or 18.4, something like that. But it was a 0.4 in both tiers. That's the point I make. And it probably won't be the same here in this tier because you're going to have rain in the session. Obviously, the Tier 2 Championship is going to be interesting this season with the fact that, you know, Wingo, who had a chance at the last season's championship, was fighting for the win. He spun out. He still might have a chance to finish on the podium based off of any sort of appeals. But the good thing for him is that you got a long season to go, and he is leading the championship as of after that. And yeah, we've gone over last season. Going over that, but I think now it's time to go over the drivers. And well, you have Term spun into the pit lane, lucky enough not to retire right there. That was close, so we were on board with him for a second. But as we mentioned, tier 1 last week, and we'll mention it again, tier 1 last week, and in the 2 previous weeks has been won by Jab. It was a McLaren 1-2, a McLaren double podium for the last 2 weeks. But this time it was a McLaren 1-2 with Jab winning and Turner 2nd. And the championship has is looking in the favor of Jab. Jab and Turner 1-2 in the championship, which is led McLaren and constructors. Thrasher, how about you go over a little more highlights of the championship for Tier 1 and what importance that will have in the rest of the season with what drivers and teams need to do?
Yeah, so the Tier 1 championship is pretty much, I wouldn't say, you know, set aside, but Jab has a 19-point lead over his teammate, Turner, and then there's another 15 points back to FRT Gorgon. The McLaren boys really showing their pace the first 2 races of the season. Both are here today, so that'll be interesting to, interesting to watch into, you know, the future in the next couple races. Can the McLaren keep their teamwork together and potentially blow constructors wide open. Speaking of
It's
constructors,
crazy.
they have a
It's crazy.
54-point lead over Williams.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Only 2 races in. And the bulk of Williams' points came last week with Sobbing Sock, reserved for the Williams, finished on the podium, on that final podium. So, uh, yeah, I mean, I think, for only 2 races in, granted, but after these first 2 races, I think the McLaren boys are just, there's just a big gap between them and the rest of the field.
Hey, but there are people keeping them on their toes, so that's what's important. As long as people are keeping them on their toes, that's what's making it interesting. I'm gonna ride on board with Finn for these last couple of corners at this track. Turn it, you gotta be very careful, but I think it's much more conservative. You could take it in the wet, up here, uphill, a little bit up the hill. You gotta be careful, your gears can't spin out there. Then in the right-hander here, you gotta take it a little bit more conservative too. Be careful in that curb, don't hit that yellow part. And purple sector by Finn. Currently could set this on pole depending on what happens. The track is getting drier though. It's not going to be completely dry by the end, I'd assume, but it is enough to the point where everybody is on the intermediate tires. Now at that final corner right there before the final flat out corner, you got to be careful there on the curb. Almost flat out in the wet. Finn's going to cross the line. He was purple in sector 2. It's not going to be pole, but it is an improvement for him. He does gain a couple positions. I'm gonna go on board with Jab as well. He's on a lap. Jab entering the final sector here. Let's see how the championship leader takes it right on that curb, but right as well on that other curb on the left side this time, because track limits. You got to use all the track, but you can't abuse the track limits because penalties will be set for you. As we saw last week, penalties did make a difference in the running order between drivers. That could change the running order. It did change the running order in Tier 2 earlier today. That's for sure. It set the podium. It possibly could have set the win too. But we have Jab coming to complete a lap. Can he beat Term for pole right now? Well, he goes up to the front row. So that's good so far. But yeah, as you mentioned, the constructor standings, the McLaren might be far ahead, right? You have AlphaTauri though. With Brute, who's retired from the session in the AlphaTauri. But you have AlphaTauri, though. No points for them in the season so far. Lando and Brute in the AlphaTauris trying to take points for the first time this season for them. Thrasher, I know it's been a hard start for AlphaTauri. Can they maybe get anything done?
I think they can. Lando is and Term just absolute.
Jesus.
Good, but no.
Impressive.
As I was saying, Brute and Lando both are very talented drivers. They can, they know the strategies well enough. They know the track well enough. I definitely think Lando, and depending how qualifying goes, the rest of qualifying goes for him, as Wolf is retired. But yeah, I think Lando, depending on how the rest of qualifying goes, can actually,
Yeah.
maybe get points. And same with Brute.
Just gotta finish races.
Yeah, that's the main problem with Brute. He has the pace, he has the speed, he just can't finish the edge.
Wow!
By
Wow!
1,000th
Of a second.
of a second, he beat Term.
That's crazy. Continue.
That's as close as you can get. But yeah, I definitely think Brute and Lando can get the points if they can finish their race. It all depends on what the weather is. We don't obviously qualifying was rain. Will it be wet for the race? Will it be dry? We don't know.
Well, something we also got to figure out too is, obviously we come to the far end of the session, and we'll talk about the drivers improving in just a second. But the point I make is, Jab is almost 20 points clear of his teammate. Now, can his teammate keep him on his heels? Yes, he can. But the point I'm gonna make here is, Gorgon, Rossi, Caterpillar, Sobbing Stock, Lewis Such, Kai, Term, all within 8 points right there, all the way to 9th place. Now, those guys are close, and the championship battle could technically be for 3rd, that we might focus on a lot during the season. But those guys can definitely take advantage if Jab ends up getting into some trouble. Jab right now is on pole position, and he's going to earn himself an extra point. If he keeps it going, he will come into the pits, though. So his qualifying is over. So that'll be interesting to watch out for. At the bottom of the constructors, AlphaTauri no points. Mercedes has one of the best lineups with Akos and Finn. 2 points for them. Then you have Alfa Romeo at 6, Haas at 9, Ferrari 13, Aston Martin at 14. All very close within a small margin for that area. Second place is Williams and Red Bull. Williams at 31, and second, Red Bull 30 for third. And that could make the difference right there on what they do. Term said he messed up in the timing. He's getting knocked down. Track is 10 times better though, and yeah, it is 1,000th of a second. We're going to be paying attention to these drivers coming across the line for the final time, because they might be setting more than one lap. Cameron in the Aston Martin is about to start a lap here, and you have other drivers crossing the line. Going up the order is Sabing Sak in 6th place. The other McLaren crosses the line. That's Turner. He's second in points. He's third in the grid as of right now. The other Aston Martin of Cameron crosses the line. He will start that lap that I was talking about. But in the final sector, there is tons and tons of cars about to cross the line. Weckass is starting a lap. And then behind that is the Alpine. Look at the rear. He's losing right there. He invalidates. Then Alpine is Louis starting a lap. Then it's the Mercedes of Akos. Behind that, the Red Bull. That is going to be
Caterpillar.
Rev Caterpillar starting a lap. You were correct in that.
Term cannot.
But Term
Did not
has
get to
complete the
line.
checkered flag. You are right. And that is going to be crucial in this championship if he does want to make a comeback at Jab and Red Bull as a whole. 1,000th separates 1 and 2 right now. Can anybody else say anything about Jab
Astrief.
in the final corner?
Astrief
It
will be
is
the first to finish the lap.
correct. 50,000's down. Can he possibly beat his teammate of Sabing Sak coming across the line? What will he do? Not gonna improve. Behind that, it is the Aston Martin. It is Cameron. And it is his teammate first of Jimbo. A 10th up right now. Top 15 is possible. Can Jimbo crack his way into the top 15? Reserving for Tier 1. Driver in Tier 2. He
Goes
will improve to
14th.
14th. Then behind that, Sabing Sak has gone on to the second row. Turner, though, with another lap, has invalidated. Behind that, the Alpine driver of Comac is spinning into the pit lane, and that is session over for him. Cameron, last season podium sitter, is going to go into the pit lane. Behind that, there are so many cars in the last sector. Louis, Akos, and many others. They're the last ones to complete laps to the line. Let's see what they can do. First is Akos spinning off. The Alpine driver of Louis, he will improve to 12th. The AlphaTauri of Lando Norris, top 15 for him. And the Red Bull driver will improve to 8th. In the top 10 for Rev Caterpillar. Behind that, the only other driver to cross the line will be Akos. But these two have put on a show once again with Term and Jab separating them. It's 1,000th, but it is the champion from last season. And the drivers won 2 in a row on pole.
Man, that was a very, very fun last couple minutes there in the qualifying session. Obviously, with Jam and Turn being separated by only 1,000th of a second. But you had some nice guys, had some decent qualifying spots as we look through the grid here.
Yep, looking through the grid, Jab and Term on the front row once again. We saw these guys battle in Japan. We saw these guys be at the front of the Japan, but they didn't have the battle we necessarily wanted because Term spun out from a net lead at the time. They might bring the battle they want. They want to give the viewers today. Turner, his teammate, is third. Sabing Sak on the second row. Then you have Finn, Cameron, Lewis Such, Rev Caterpillar, Astrief, and Akos running out the top 10. 8 tenths separate them. Outside the top 10, some people to mention. Both Alfa Romeos, Davis, Lando, Jimbo, Comac, and Brute. Comac won here last time, so we're going to be watching out for him. Brute didn't set a time. And as I mentioned, JNT and Black Raw, fast drivers with a lot of potential. 11th and 12th. Davis is a reserve. He doesn't have Davis and Lando both as a reserve. They don't have much to go for. They're just here to have fun, and maybe they can take advantage of some of these drivers.
Something interesting that I like to point out when I was looking at the timing on the grid, there was a couple, little tiny qualifying, gaps through the field. There was the two Alfa Romeos only separated by 2 tenths of. Yeah, no, I was right the first time. 2,000ths of a second. And then there was, I believe it was Cameron and whoever it was 3,000. So there's like a bunch of little, qualifying gaps throughout the field. So, and the top 12, I believe, was separated by a second. So this could be very interesting.
Yeah, and it does look like the race will be in dry, but we have some clouds at the top of the screen, so maybe there might be a difference in any rain. Don't expect any. The drivers haven't said anything about it, but you know that Jeff and Rain, there's a whole difference there with what people will say. Look at the tire difference from the whole field, mediums and softs. We'll be going over the difference in tires first before we get to our ones to watch. The medium runners, Jab, Term, Finn Cameron, Rev Caterpillar, and Akos in the top 10. But outside the top 10 on the mediums is Wolf, Jimbo, Wekaz, and Brute. On the softs, outside the top 10, Black Raw, JNT, Louis, Davis, Lando, and Comac. Comac won last season. Maybe that's the strategy he's looking to win for this season. But he started from 19th. He has a long way to go as well, so we'll watch out for him. In the top 10 on softs, Astrif, Louis Such, Sabing Suck, and Turner. I'm going to go over my favorites quickly in this race. Turner, on the softs, he's the highest driver on the softs. Look for him to get a good start. Look for him to play defense here for Jab and possibly help him win this race and possibly get himself maybe a challenge for the championship because he is second. He's the only one closest within a race of Jab for this title fight. We'll see what he can do. He starts third on the grid, highest runner on softs. We'll see what he can do. And I'm going to go outside the top 10. I'm obviously going to go with Comac, last season's winner on the Alpine, starting on the softs. Out of the bottom 5 drivers, he's the only one on the softs. Now, being in the back could be his way of staying out of trouble and winning this race. We'll find out. And Thrash, you give us your 2 favorites here.
So obviously, yeah, there's no one else to go with other than, pole sitter again, Jaboli MSU. Jab continues to show his pace week in, week in, week out. Will he show it again today and possibly go 3 in a row? Also, outside the top 10, how about Lando Norris? Lando Norris in his first Tier 1 start. Starting 15th on the softs. If he can continue that pace and pick the right timings for strategies, I think Lando could possibly be in the back half of the points before the race ends.
And maybe pick the right tire. His favorite driver forgot to do that in Sochi at the end of last year for a race win. If Lando wants to be on for the race win, you got to choose the right tire. Hopefully he can do so. And yeah, like I mentioned, Davis, Lando, and Jimbo. Tier 2 drivers reserving in Tier 1. Just looking to have fun here. They're not looking for anything special. They're not looking for a win. But hey, maybe they can have a win if they're just having fun and being in the right position. We'll find out. Lights are about to go off. Lights are about to start coming on in just a second. Here we go. 3, 4, 5 lights for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Here we go for the start. The 2 front runners are on mediums. It's lights out and away we go. You see the Williams of Sabing Suck get an amazing start, and he's going to challenge Term in turn 1. They're 3 wide. Jab with an amazing start, and Sabing Suck has got himself into second place. He's side by side with Turner. Both the soft runners taking advantage of what they got on this start. Jab leads into turn 4 ahead of this big pack ahead. He's got 4/10 in them already, and as we head to turn 4, turn 5, we have a crash at the back. Term and Such both into the wall. I think Such has damage. Term does not, though. He spun out, and he's down the order once again. Finn has gained positions. He's the second highest runner on mediums. Then Akos down the order. Davis has cracked himself into the top 10. And that's the running order, and that's the cars who've made positions on their lap 1 start. And look at the gap between the lead, a second already.
Wow.
That is unbelievable. But completing the first lap here is going to be Jab in this lead. And we have positions being traded throughout the whole field. But second place, Sabing Socks kept that for now. And he could play the difference in challenging Jab. Throughout this midfield, though, a ton of battling, a ton of going back and forth. Black Raw, 4 positions for him. 5 for Louis, 5 for Davis, 5 for Wolf as well. And Lando and Brute and Comac going side by side. Comac is gaining position, so is Brute. AlphaTauri looking to gain their first points of the season as Jab leads the first lap of this race.
Yes, I believe Cormac pits and Akos pits as well. So those
Might have
would
picked up
be,
damage.
those are the only 2 hits after lap 1, but very interesting, lap 1 battle here. Farther on, this very interesting.
Louis lost it at turn 4. I apologize to cut in. He's lost it. Resets the track. You're not allowed to do that. You are not allowed to do that. Astrif has picked up the first race.
Yeah, make sure to clip that on the stream.
Yep.
After But look at these drivers. We have a couple drivers that have lost positions, but a couple drivers who have gained a lot. Brute, the highest with 7 positions gained. And you have Wolf 6, Davis 6, Black Raw 5. Very.
Brute has been put off.
And as soon as I said something, Brute lost.
That's
2
right.
spots.
And while you were speaking, though, Cameron had got by Black Raw and him traded positions. There's a yellow flag. That could potentially be at the back of the field again with Louis. But look at this 4-car battle at the last corner. Cameron forces Black Raw alive. They're going to go 4 wide.
Look at David.
And he has split all of them. They're 3 wide into turn 1 this time. Avstreep pushed Black Raw alive, and Black Raw has lost 4 positions out of that with Davis gaining 3, I apologize.
If that's not overtake of the week, I don't know what is.
Well, look at Black Raw go down the inside again, and he has got the move done for the time being, but Cameron looking to switch back around the outside as Wolf looks to gain position, and you're right, Avstreep is off at turn number 4, and he has lost his front wing.
From way far back.
And there's contact at the hairpin, which has let Black Raw go off the track, and it's let Wolf gain the position right there. You can see the medium and soft runners, a variety of changes in positions from all them, and their starting positions.
That was a very interesting lap there. But what if we had a nice battle off at the final corner coming to start the lap. Davis gained all positions, passed them all before they got into turn 1. And then we continued to have battles with Wolf, Black Raw, and Cameron, and now Landon Norris. We were talking about AlphaTauri looking for their first points. Landon Norris currently sitting in that 10th position, right on the back of Cameron.
Sabing Sok picked up the fastest lap, and that could be challenging for the race lead right here. That's close between them, but right now, Lando Norris has got himself by Cameron, and right up ahead of that, Black Raw got himself by Wolf. Davis had gained, I believe, right there. Let me check just to make sure. As Akos has picked up a penalty. 8 positions from his starting spot. That's insane. And for the race lead, Sabing Sok looking to go down the inside of Jab. He's challenging at the start on the soft tires, but cannot make the move right there. That was close and concerning for him because he could have picked up damage if he wasn't careful right there on Jab. Term goes by Cameron for the points position. He spun, was down at 19th. Got himself back up in the points. Black Raw picks up a penalty.
Yeah, Black Raw does pick up a penalty. The second driver too pick up a penalty. But back up towards the front, you have Jab on the mediums. Then you have Simon Salk and Turner behind him on the softs. Finn in the mediums and Rev Caterpillar in the mediums. So.
Oh, and speaking of Red Bull, you spoke of Red Caterpillar. Turner almost ran in the back of Lando. I apologize there.
Yeah, Akos gets another 3 second. But we have now Sabing Sok to the inside for the race lead. And is able to take
right
it
at turn 1. Yeah, for a moment I was focusing on back farther because Wolf and Cameron are pitting and Term is going by Lando. But at the final corner, I think Lando almost ran in the back of him and challenging down to turn 4 this time for this race lead. Jab might look to get it back. Sabing Sok's going to defend in the inside. And Jab is only going to look to force him into a mistake. But it is the soft runners taking the lead. And you know how Portugal is. You got to go softs to mediums or mediums to softs. Jab looking to do the reverse strategy possibly.
Yeah, very true. But what a great path from Sabing Sok into turn 1. Sabing Sok, obviously, he's on the softs and Jab on the mediums. But, we saw this last week where, Jab had to battle his way for that race win. Now, Sabing Sok and Turner on the softs, 2 different strategies being played here.
Well, we have Louis Such and the Haas driver of Wekas making a move right here at the final, right before the final sector. I apologize to cut in once again, Thrasher, but this is getting important, and this is getting physical because they're both making contact as they enter the last sector. Ferrari versus the Haas. It's going to be the Ferrari getting ahead for DRS, but the Haas of Wekas trying to challenge back at it. Can't do so right there. Fastest lap for Sabing Sok as Jab gets closer once again to turn 1, but can't get enough to the move, and he might have picked up a warning right there.
Yeah, as you said, now does Wekas have a move? Can he move back on? No, too far back.
thing we always see from Jab is him conserve that ERS much, much better than the other drivers around him. I've seen it from the league I used to own. I've seen it from the league here in GSRs. Jimbo has picked up a penalty that's just outside the points, but Jab on much better ERS compared to Subbing Suck. You see the difference right there. That's about 50% right there between both drivers. Actually, but that's more than 50% for sure. That difference is going to play a factor in this race, and Jab is just the smarter driver in this position. He's also got his teammate right there backing him up, just barely inside DRS still is Turner. And that's going to be the important factor on Subbing Suck keeping this lead or not, because he's got both McLarens right there just behind, and Turner outside of DRS for the time being. Back inside of it, he's going to have DRS this time. He'll be safe for the time being as Wetgas picks up another penalty. 6/10 between this league. Subbing Suck trying to break the slipstream, because you know how powerful it is at a track like Portugal. He's going to have the lead into turn 1 for the time being, as Jeb continues to fight back, but it's just still not enough. And Akos has now got 9 seconds of penalties as he runs last in this race.
Yeah, not the race, or not the start, just like that Akos wanted. But
oh, it's Turner out! Unbelievable, and the guy who could have backed up Jab is not going to back him up anymore. And there's a safety car to start off the early section of this race, and that is unbelievable.
Ryan, you know, there's a saying for commentators, and it's the commentary jinx.
Oh no! And speaking of jinx, you got Astrid drive through. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
But there's this thing as commentary jinx. We may have jinxed Turner. Just may.
Just may. Yeah, I think that's a fair thing.
And Turner, if you're watching, blame it all on him.
I am so sorry.
It was not
I am
me.
so sorry. I am so sorry. Well, if anything is gonna help Subbing Suck, it is that. For sure. And, you know, you can't go the rest of the way in mediums, but those stops were dying. We'll see what drivers do. Do they pit? Do they go into a 2-stop now? They were maybe looking for a 1-stop. The drivers are forced into a 2-stop. It is pitting for the 2 leaders. Shizu Finn behind that. Does he choose to stay out? Yes, he's gonna. He's on the mediums, and so is Rev Caterpillar. So these two will be leading the restart here when we do go back to racing. But I'm interested to see Subbing Suck, Jab. Is it going to be the 2-stop? Jab is going to go with the 1-stop, though. Subbing Suck, who was the race leader, will go for mediums, and he will beat Jab out of the pit lane, too. So that makes the difference in the net lead. Everybody else pitting except for the 2 leaders. And we saw an early safety car around this lap in Japan, and one of the leaders spun, one of the net leaders spun. So I'm interested to see what happens this time. And Jab was in 4th place on that safety car restart when all of that happened, and he did end up winning the race. He's in 4th place right now, and he will be 4th place in this restart if things do go to plan. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm interested to see what happens there. And as you speak, I want to mention Term is kind of upset at Lewis Such because they did have contact on the start.
Something I like to point out, Davis, and can we just give great hats off to Davis so far? Tier 2 driver comes in reserve Tier 1, and he has gained 9 spots and is currently running 5th. I think, if you ask me, I think that's an amazing start from Davis.
Don't curse him, Thrasher. If you want him to do well, you don't want to curse him.
He does talk about me jinxing him, and he talks about people jinxing him in general. So, at least if anyone jinxes him, it'll be me. And I'll just hear him, you know, go off on me later on.
That's true. That's true. Well, that should be fun. Speaking of positions gained, you mentioned Davis of Caterpillar 6. I know, obviously, he didn't pit yet. Same with Finn, who is the front 2, but that's still impressive regardless of what's happened so far. But what is also impressive is Lando Norris, 7 positions in his Tier 1 debut. Jimbo's got 7 positions as well. And you also have Brute, positions gained, and he is on the medium tire. Now, you know, we mentioned before, AlphaTauri started the season off with no points whatsoever. Brute, with a start like that, 8 positions gained, that's what you're wanting to do and wanting to show that, hey, AlphaTauri can gain and can play here in Tier 1, and we've shown up this time. And with Lando and Brute, yeah, Lando, the Tier 2 driver, the Tier 1 reserve, Brute, the Tier 1 full-time driver, hasn't finished a race to start off the season, I believe, at least in the points. And he hasn't finished a race at all to start off the season. Maybe this could be his day. And if it is, it is. If it is, it isn't. Or if it isn't, it isn't. So that's just the way things are going to go in this race. The only driver on softs, though, that is left is Lewis Such. He's in 11th place. And I'm going to assume by this point, with him going softs, he will go the 2-stop. Because he's not going to go the full rest of the race on softs. Unless that was a mistake. So, we'll see.
Yeah, so I was looking at the chat while we were on the safety car.
Oh, boy.
And Alicia said, the real Landon Norris. Oh, my God. Ryan, get his autograph.
I'm not that big of a Lando Norris fan, but I am a fan of this Lando Norris. And, yep. Lewis Such and Term. I'm looking at the clip again. Lewis did maybe force him out of the curb a little bit, and then there was contact at turn 4, which sent Term into the spin, which is why also Lewis Such was back there from the start too. Obviously, Term is still back in this race. He's got a chance. He's 6th place. He's net P4, and this could play into his hands, as you know, he's got Rev Caterpillar up there to support him too. So hopefully that helps him.
Also, something else in the chat.
We'll see.
Alicia said, shaking my head Thrasher and jinxing Turner.
Well, I think we both did, to be fair.
I told
think we both
you,
did.
it wasn't me, Alicia. Blame
I think
Ryan.
we both did. I think we both did.
No.
Mainly me, though. Mainly me. I mean, I mentioned it, but you mentioned Turner up there, too, man. So.
You had no proof. The stream did not catch it.
Well, we'll go look back in about an hour from now. But what we are focusing on right now is Lewis Such switching to mediums. He was in the softs. Wetgas has got a 5-second for a collision with Cameron under the safety car. But, yeah, Lewis Such... I was going to say, Lewis Such... in 18th place, he switched on to the mediums. I think the softs were a mistake, as I mentioned. And already to start off this race, you have Hackos in the Mercedes with 12 seconds of penalties. And Astrafe will have to serve that drive-through on the restart.
Bodgem, it may just be you. I don't know. Sometimes the app gets like that. He asks, is it just me or is the stream really dark? Sometimes the app does that.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's that dark, to be fair. I know my brightness isn't the brightest on this game with my choice of the brightness. I am the one streaming. It's not Thrasher this week, but maybe refresh. Maybe try that, and we will see. We'll see if that maybe helps you. But it is the safety car coming in this time. It will be Shizou Finn leading the restart. Mercedes have only got 2 points this season. Well, their point right now is them proving themselves so they can do well. Because it is Finn leading the safety car restart. The teammate of him down to 16th. You know, I know I'm a Mercedes driver myself in Tier 3 trying to support them. We have positions being traded. We have a mess at the back of the field. I'm sorry, that's the midfield with Lando, Blackdraw, and they're all being caught up 4 seconds behind the lead. You don't want to have that happen. Finn, though, is going to be waiting to go. He's going to go now, and it is going to be green for him. He's 4/10 ahead of Rev Caterpillar, and he has stayed out on the safety car restart. What difference will he make? Cormac has got a 3-second time penalty to start off this restart, and here comes Rev Caterpillar right before turn 1 is gaining. And FG Wolf has got a 5-second penalty for spinning in the pit lane. He might have picked up damage on that restart.
We almost
spun off.
We almost had a pass for 4th place. Davis was almost got past Jab on the restart. And Ekos is out.
Yep, that's in the pit lane. But Sabing Sak is looking to go down the inside of Rev Caterpillar. This is for 2nd place in this race. Caterpillar goes off the track, but Caterpillar has got ahead for the time being. But Sabing Sak right back ahead. And that is, again, the net lead. And what's important about it is you have a car in between Sak and Jab. But I'm sure drivers will be pissed off about that one with, I think it was 7th place on back for being caught up in a mess there from trading positions. Black Raw, Lando Norris, a couple of those drivers involved in that. And, yeah, you see Comac as well. He pitted on that restart, gone under the softs. He got a couple penalties from that too. I don't know if those were all from check limits or all 5-second penalties. We'll have to find out. But the battle for right now is for this lead. ERS being used by Sabing Sak to get to this lead. And this is very important in this race if he wants to win this race. Because he's going to go by Finn for now. Fastest lap by him. He's taking the race lead for now, but not for long, because Finn is challenging back at turn 1. He's on the outside. Finn is still challenging. This is great racing between the two, side by side. Subbing Saka's got the lead for now, and he's cleared him actually.
Yeah, great.
So yeah, now that's 2 cars. I'm sorry. That's 2 cars between him and Jab now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, nothing. But Jab, only 3.5 tenths behind Caterpillar. As you said, 2 cars between Subbing Sock and Jab. But question is, will Subbing Sock have to pit again? Can he maybe stretch those mediums all the way?
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what goes on, because those guys have yet to pit. Jab going the rest of the way on hards. Can you go the rest of the way in the mediums? That's the question. Possible, but it's going to be tough. I've mentioned that all weekend, because that's how you are here. You got to save tires. Brute picks up a 3-second time penalty.
He's now the 8th driver to pick up a penalty in this race. But now, Davis trying to close in on Jab. I think Davis is just fine sitting behind Jab for right now.
Yeah, and if both of them want to get up there, Davis might have to follow Jab, and Jab is going to have to be careful a little bit, because you almost ran in the back of Rev Caterpillar. The difference, though, between the hard tires and the 12-lap mediums, the new, fresher hards, the old mediums, this could play the difference in this race with Jab getting by, and we'll have to find out. Astrief served that drive-through, if I'm correct. Let me just check to make sure. Yes, he did. He took the fastest lap right there. Rev Caterpillar is just barely outside of DRS this time. Got himself back in it. Almost got himself back out of it. And if Jab keeps up with Rev Caterpillar, gets by him, you know he's going to go challenge Finn, and then Subbing Sock is his next target after that.
Wolf picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Well, a second between the lead. A second. And that is the difference between DRS and Finn. Has lost the rear right there, which could play the difference. He had to use a little bit of overtake just to keep up, but he is out of DRS, and that could be crucial to Caterpillar getting the DRS, catching him right here. Here comes Jab on the hards. Into turn 1, no moves will be made, unless you want to go from a far way back, which I wouldn't expect to happen.
Yeah, something else I like to point. Oh, we got yellow flags. Is that Cormac?
Yup, it is. Oh, that turn 3. We have a move at turn 3. Lando Norris is going to go down the inside of Jimbo. Both tier 2 drivers. They're going to go 3 wide for a second. Here comes Cameron involved in this battle. And Lando Norris has gone around the outside right there. Here comes Cameron on Jimbo. But Jimbo looking to go back down the inside of Lando. Lando's going to have to keep it around the outside if he wants to keep going. But Jimbo has got the position. And he's kept going in a straight line to maintain 8th place.
Something else I'd like to point out. We're talking about Jab and Caterpillar. Oh, JNT, that's in the pits. But we were talking about Jab and Caterpillar for this win. Driver we forgot is Term.
Yeah,
Term is
that's
off
true.
the hards right behind Davis. There's 1 car separating Jab and Davis.
And that's 1 stop too, just like Jab, so that could play the difference. That's at least the thing is, that's at least a guaranteed 1 stop right here. And Jab is coming closer in Rev Caterpillar for this podium position. Here comes Jab on the inside. He's got by that position, and that's Astrief out of the session. That will bring out a safety car. So this does play into Finn and Caterpillar's hands. Well,
Appreciate
Thrasher.
Bob.
Okay,
Sorry, real quick.
Sure,
Appreciate
good.
you liking the commentary, Bob Jim. That helps. It gives us confidence, to continue on streaming. So the feedback is very helpful. So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And under the safety car, this would also be a good time to mention the league is sponsored by SilentX Energy. As Alicio, yeah, I stole it from you, didn't I? But as Alicio mentioned, it's the As Alicio mentioned, it's the healthy version of G Fuel. So go check them out. This would be a great time to do so under the safety car. But what would also be a great time to mention is Finn and Caterpillar. Free pit stop for them. You know, the softs, I do think it is possible. Yesterday, you know, the drivers in Tier 3 did go on the softs and did make it to the end, but they also lost a lot of pace at the end too. So do you go softs? Do you go two-stop? What do you do? Jab is pitting. Jab is pitting in this race, and this is important for the battle for this lead because the rest of those drivers in that train and who are near them are also pitting.
I guess Jab, the only thing I think is going back to the mediums. Yeah. Which he will.
Finn and Caterpillar are going to go on the softs, and that's smart from them, and that's what I expected them to do. Davis as well, getting held in the pits. He's going to go on the mediums as well. Now, Jimbo and Brute stayed out. Now, what's important in this, though, is you had previously, 2 cars splitting sock and jab. Now you have 3. But Jimbo and Brute are on the same strategy as subbing sock, and they both have penalties in this race.
They did go to the softs.
Yes. And that's going to be interesting for him because now he's on the same level playing field as Jab, and he wasn't before.
Yeah, but I don't think you can make the softs last to the end.
You can with this safety car, though.
I don't. They usually last about like 12 laps. 12, 13-ish.
I want to remember correctly, and if I do remember correctly, it was Archie Cyberbot yesterday in, in Tier 3, 19 laps at the end of the softs, but his pace drop-off was pretty bad in the last couple laps. So, with this safety car, it does kind of secure them more confidence to go the rest of the way on the softs, but it is a matter of if they will be able to do so, what their tire will be like, and we'll just have to find out. Because it's still a long way to go in this race. I mean, Whack-Ass did pick up a 3-second time penalty right there, but we are reaching the halfway point as of right now. Because, I mean, I know it's a long... I know. Finn... Oh, okay. He thought about it for a minute. Pitting, maybe switching tires. No, not
so Term did say he did 15 on the soft easily without losing pace. Okay. I guess I'm wrong then, but...
Hey, I mean...
We'll see.
It's okay to be wrong.
We'll see if Finn can... work these out, or will they be dead by the end to let someone say, like Jab or Term?
Well, the thing is, it was going to be originally Rev Caterpillar and Finn on the softs. It's only going to be Finn now, because Rev Caterpillar came in for a switch of tires, and, he's going to have to challenge the way through the field now. He was up there, and he did have a chance. But now, Now, you do mention that Jimbo is in second. He does have a penalty. And he is actually, Lewis Such picks up a penalty there under the safety car for a collision with Wolf. But, now, you mentioned Jimbo is in second place. He is. He's the highest Tier 2 driver, here. And, you do mention, Term, that he has to pit. He does. But, if these safety cars keep coming out, he might not have to. Obviously, like we mentioned with Archie yesterday, 19 laps in the softs, and he did have a big pace drop-off at the end. That would be the same here for Jimbo, Sock, and Brute if they do continue to go the rest of the way in this race. But yeah, Jimbo second place, Tier 2 driver, as I mentioned, and the thing about him is he was running inside the points, barely though, but he was running inside the points. Because of the drivers who pitted in front of him, he stayed out, he took advantage. Him and Brute have penalties, though. Both yet to score points in Tier 1, if I'm correct, especially Brute. This would be a great opportunity for them to do so, especially with them being up front now. They just got to stay up front and hope for something crazy to happen, because you have Finn, Jab, and Davis, and even Term there, who's hungry to challenge, and just right behind that, Leonard Norris as well, up in 8th place in his debut for Tier 1.
So I don't know if I just saw like a glitch or something, but Brute, I think Finn may have passed Brute, and Brute passed him back. I don't know. I just was looking at the chat, and then I looked up, and I just saw Brute just zoom by Finn.
Well, regardless, it was Brute who stayed out, and Finn the one who did pit, and he is the net leader too. if you want to think about it that way. You know, there's a lot that's going to go play into this race, and in this restart, it will be subbing stock leading once again. But this time on a safety car restart.
Real quick,
yeah.
while we're under safety car, before we go back green, take a look at penalties. You got Jimbo and Brute with 3, Black Rob with 3, Lubis Stretch with 5, Weckass with 6, Cormac 6, Wolf 8.
So, I think the only ones who can be appealed to the stewards based off of if everything goes fine, no more pit stops, nothing, and this race plays out the way they want it to, for them to serve their penalty, Lewis, Such, and Wolf. Both Ferrari drivers would be able to serve their penalty, and another penalty that will be served again will be from Lewis Such, colliding with Wetcast once again.
Well, that one should definitely be removed because it was from Wetcast, and Wetcast ran into the back of him.
Well, what I will say though is, as the safety car is coming in, what I will say before we get going is, I think GSR admins will have to mention to these drivers in Tier 1 before the next race to keep a good gap under the safety car, because I know a lot of these drivers, before they reach Sector 3, when it says safety car in this lap, some of these drivers aren't leaving a close enough gap, and it's causing them to hit each other, and it's causing for a lot of 5 seconds to be appealed. But it is subbing stock, the race leader, on this safety car restart. He's got 3 cars in between him and Jab. Finn is hungry on the softs. What will the safety car restart be like? The safety car is yet to reach the pit lane, so we'll see. A slipstream, hungry down to turn 1. He gone, then he let off, and then he gone again. You can't do that. And he's got cars challenging for the lead. We're going to be 3 wide here. Into turn 1. It is Jimbo on the inside. He's got the advantage. They're side by side. There's contact. And Brew is looking to go down the inside. We have cars jockeying for position once again. Yellow flags at the back. That's Lewis Such. And Jimbo could not get the lead, but Finn has got Brute. Brute's got Finn now. Again, trading positions for 3rd place in this race. Jab getting challenged from turn to the back into the hairpin. And side by side between Finn and Brute. Finn has got him for the time being. Finn still got him. He's clear now. Jab is got by Term. He's fully clear of him. And they're all looking to stay single file into turn 8. But Term right on the back of Jab. Very close to contact.
And that's a very close call in turn 1. They were 3 wide, and Brute decided to let off. But that was a very close call in turn 1. That could have, it was interesting, but it also could have caused a wreck. So
Louis, 3-second time penalty for him, and the gap between the race lead, a second, and Finn has to get by. Yeah, you're right, Jab on Brute. That is crucial for this race, and Jab has to challenge Finn. But first, Finn has to challenge Jimbo. Finn's gone by Jimbo, and they're going to be wheel to wheel. Still wheel to wheel. Overtake, though, will make the difference for Finn to get by. That's 2nd place, and that's crucial for him as a soft runner in this race. Term side by side with Brute at turn 1. Contact made.
Yeah, Brute kind of put a late block on turn off the final corner. We'll see if that has anything. If
we got to keep up with all this. Jimbo letting Jab go by, I think. No, he's just protecting the inside. I apologize. I thought he was going to let him go there. Jimbo maybe challenging back. Nope, not yet. It's going to be Jab getting by for the podium position. Jab back on the podium and back to the challenge to the front of this field. And everybody within DRS range all the way back to 11th place in Term. Right in the back of Jimbo. Jimbo losing the rear. And Term is going to look to go by up the hill, down the hill, up the hill once again. Term goes by for 4th place in this race. And Jimbo looked for a move. Couldn't make it right there. He has to stay content with 5th place. Sock has left the session from the lead. Oh no, you've got to invite him back, Thrasher. It's going to be Finn, though, taking the lead for now. He's got to get back in the session if he wants to maintain the podium, but right now, it is Finn, then Jab, then subbing Sock. Brute has picked up another penalty in this race. That is now 6 seconds to his time, and the game is pitting subbing Sock from the podium. Oh no. That's unbelievable. And there's a crash! Brute and Davis on the front straight. Davis is out. And that might bring out a safety car. It does. Brute's got no front wing, and he's off.
I jinxed David. What did I tell you was...
Oh my god. Unbelievable. There's a collision on the straightaway, though, between Brute and Davis. That ended up in Davis being out of this race. Wow. And Brute has no front wing.
I
You know,
jinxed Davis.
I jinxed Brute too, because he was looking for his first points. And I mentioned that he had a good chance to do so being up front, and now he's got damage and gonna have to pit. That's the third safety car in this race. Just like Tier 2 all over again. Oh boy. Well, Thrasher, I think it's your time to talk about SilentX Energy, as we'll find out who's pit and who doesn't.
I know exactly what I'm talking about. SilentX Energy.
Really? You do? Jab's staying out though, and Finn's pitting.
I'm saving it for the end. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Since you just took it.
Jab is gonna have the race lead right now on the safety car restart. Then you have Term, Black Raw, who've all stayed out. Finn going to another pair of softs. Did he have to fix damage or something? Regardless.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
He may have. I would say he may have gotten damage when he ran to the back of, I think it was Brute.
Now, although the game kind of fucked over Sobbing Sock, he's back in the session and he pitted from the game. 4th place in this race for him. Soft tires, that'll be good. But, and a reminder, he can go to the end. Everybody on these softs can confirm they can go to the end. But the thing is, he was leader, lagged out, got screwed over by the game, and now his chance back at the lead is going to be very crucial and very, very likely, where before, if that safety car never happened, he would never have a chance for that lead once again.
Yeah, I was going to say that safety car really helped him. That was,
it did.
That was much needed from Sobbing Sock. Well, yeah, he's P4. He has one driver in front of him, penalty. That is Black Raw. So, technically, he's net podium. And, you know, Perm and Jab, we've seen these two, you know, these two were battled for the first half of the race at Suzuka last week. Now, these two are going to be battling for the second half of the race here at Portugal. Will this be the battle for the win? Can Sobbing Sock?
Oh boy. Yeah, you mentioned that, but I think this is crucial to mention that the top 3 have stayed out. The rest of the field pitted. And Terran put in the Tier 1 general chat, why is the whole lobby pitted then? And he pinged Jab and he said, GG to us, we're done. And they are done. Jimbo is going to pit again. Maybe to put on a new pair of softs, serve a penalty, who knows. Maybe getting that out of the way. Black Raw has a 3-second time penalty though, and is on the podium right now. Net podium would go to Sobbing Sock based off of that, if the race were to finish as of right now. Why is this important though? Black Raw and Jab, they're good friends. Don't know if they're in a party, who knows? But the point is that Black Raw is the last car out of the guys who've stayed out. Term and Jab have got to hold this lead. You know, that to me says Black Raw might have some involvement in this race if he holds on for the podium, if Jab holds on for the win. To find out how these drivers will work together in the top 3, because the rest of the whole field pitted. And that could be concerning for them. Sobbing Sock was the leader before this all happened and before he lagged out. He was on the same strategy Jab and Term were on. Maybe just more worn mediums. And that would be the, that would have, go ahead.
So, sorry to interrupt you, but Davis has put in the Tier 1 general chat that he called Brute a idiot for, because they're in a party together, which is really interesting. Yeah. And apparently Brute cut Davis off, and apparently Brute thought he was clear down the straight.
Wow. That's unbelievable. Well, that cost Davis his chance at maybe points, maybe podium, because that could have been possible. But as I mentioned, Sobbing Sock lagged out, and then he was going to have to pit again, as Term mentioned. But he got that pit stop again, and he kind of maybe got lucky by that, especially with the safety car. The game pitting him on the softs, and he's got the chance to challenge back for the lead. Well, it's the top 3 versus the rest of the lobby who pitted, and It's Jab, Terran, Black Draw versus the whole field. Jab really backing up. He might go late here, and he's going to try to prevent as much slipstream as possible. Jimbo's got a penalty, and Jab, when does he step foot on the throttle? That could play the difference in how this restart goes. Jab's on the throttle now, and he's gone and he's away. Term does not get the slipstream he wants, and he's getting challenged, and Brew is out. They're 3 wide behind Subbing Sock, and it's all kicking off, and there's a crash! Big crash! There's a Red Bull around! That's Rev Caterpillar. The Alfa Romeo Black Raw's going around as well, and that's going to play difference into this race side by side for 3rd place. Subbing Sock has got the position for now, but Term holds on to 2nd place in. That could be crucial. Black Raw not having the partner, Jab now having the partner in Black Draw that he needed to maybe maintain the podium and maintain the win, because Subbing Sock and Finn and even Lando Norris up in the top 5 are very, very hungry for this lead, and they're on the podium right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, what a race for Lando Norris.
That's crazy.
First Tier 1 start, reserving for Tier 1, and he's sitting P5, 3rd on the softs. He could possibly stay with Finn and Subbing Sock here. He could have a shot for a good podium.
Jimbo's got a 3-second penalty, and this gap for the lead continues to heat up. Both Ferraris gone side by side. Such has gone by of Wolf, and all these positions with penalties will change out for this win. But Rev Caterpillar and Black Draw crash in the restart. Their chances of a podium are gone unless they get a safety car. Term holding off Subbing Sock for now, but Subbing Sock, that's a promising final sector. Purple for him. And this gap for the lead is getting closer once again. Term and Jab challenging. Lewis Such is got by Weck. That's for 8th place. And Wolf has picked up a penalty right behind that. That's for 9th place. And Subbing Sock looking to go around the outside. Switch back here for 2nd place. He's defending to the inside. He's protected for that time being. Maybe going to force Term into a mistake right here. That's his only hope to get by. His Term is a really great defender, as we've seen before. Pitting is Rev Caterpillar and Black Raw.
Yeah, I was not able to see what happened. Oh, Finn almost got to the back of Subbing Sock there.
Oh, Term lost the rear, and that's allowed Subbing Sock to go through, as you mentioned.
And Finn tried to look to the outside. On Term's to look back. And that's not what Jab wanted. Jab did not want to see them get past Term.
And Term has forced Finn out wide again, and that's the gap, and that's the battle for the podium. There's contact. Finn and Term touch wheels. It's going to allow Lando Norris to get by Finn and go wheel to wheel for 4th place in this race at the last corner. But yeah, you're right. Subbing Sock took advantage of the mistake from Term. The fresher soft tires made the difference. DRS enabled, and Lando with the slipstream on Finn. Finn on the slipstream on Term. And Term is only going to be able to protect for the podium at this point. And now we got a battle for this lead.
Yeah, Jab has to do everything he can to hold off Subbing Sock. It's going to be a very hard task for Jab.
Into turn 5, it's his first opportunity for Subbing Sock to maybe make this move. He can only force him a mistake for now, as he's hit the back of Jab. He's moved him out of the way, but can't get by. And Lando and Cameron, let me mention them. Cameron and the Aston Martin, Tier 2 champion from last season. Lando, the reserve, and the AlphaTauri looking for their first points of the season. They put on good performances today. They actually started pretty far back. Well, Lando did, I mean, back in 15th. Cameron has had a struggling race. It's been back and forth for him. Weck, 10 positions gained since the start, and 7 from Wolf from his starting position. We'll pay attention to by that at the end of the race to see where they finish. But the gap between the lead is 4 tenths, and you know with DRS enabled, it's going to be Subbing Sock's opportunity. Jab saved a bit of ERS. He might use it this time because he is getting challenged for the lead as we enter lap 27 of this race. Here he comes! Subbing Sock to the inside. He's made the move already. He's got it done. And that is the race lead changed right there. And Jab can only hope for those softs to die off at this point. Subbing Sock going a bit wide. Not enough for Jab to maybe capitalize, but he's got DRS once again, and he's got Term backing him up for company.
Black got a 3-second time penalty. His race pretty much over unless the safety car comes out.
11th place in this race. Cormac is going to go down the inside again on Jimbo. Oh, he loses the rear, and that's going to allow Jimbo to maybe switch back and go around him for 11th place. These guys have penalties but they are still trying to challenge for possible points as Black Raw does pick up the fastest lap. Louis right behind Weckass, maybe looking for a move up the hill into the end of Sector 2. Can't make it there. Gonna go down the inside, though. Oh, nope. Can't do it right there.
Gap now almost a second. 8.5 tenths now.
And Jab will have to use the ERS. This will be crucial for him to do so. He's got much more ERS than Subbing Sock, and he's also got DRS this time as well. 9 tenths that gap out of the final corner. We'll see what it is into turn 1. And Finn is still challenging turn for this podium. He's out of ERS though, Finn is. And down to turn 1. That gap goes from 9 tenths to 5 tenths. Well, as Turn mentioned, they are sitting ducks, and they still are. Especially even for the podium now, as Finn is trying to challenge back in. Cameron down the inside of Lando Norris. Lando Norris switching back, and sideways he goes. And that's 5th place loss for him. He's got to gain traction back, though, to keep 6th now. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's all just kicking off, Thrasher.
Yeah, I know. This is really what, you know, as commentary point of view, this is really what we want to see. Very great racing at the end. Jab now, when this time last lap, the gap was about 8.5 tenths. It's now 6 tenths. Now, can Jab gain even more and more?
Jeb has more ERS, and that's what's going to help him gain more and more out of the final corner. 6 tenths that time. DRS and Slipstream, as well as ERS. No overtake for Jab used that time. It was 6 tenths. There's a penalty that was handed out in the back from the race director, but Lewis is gone by Lando as well. Lando dropping like a rock in these final laps, and yeah, end of turn 3, 5 tenths that time. So not as much gained on that lap by Jab, but if Jab is able to conserve enough tires and hopefully hope for the softs to die off, he might have a chance in this final lap. And remember, he is the championship leader. He's won 2 in a row. This could be his 8th podium in a row, and there's a yellow flag. That was maybe Jimbo, I want to assume, in the Aston Martin, who spun off there. He's still trying to challenge for points. He's got a chance to do so at the end of this race in 6 tenths again. That gap for the lead. Now down to 5. Oh, again. That's Louis, I think. Yes, it is. And like I said, that battle for points still heating up, and that's going to matter now for that spin. 7 tenths. 6 tenths. Back to 7. And he's going to be within DRS this time, unless something crazy happens. He's got Term to challenge him. And he's got Term to maybe pull him along and help to challenge for this win. It's going to be 4 laps to go this time. So, 7 tenths of the last corner. Into turn 1. We'll see what the gap is by then. It's a 4-car train. 4 cars do have a chance for this. And only they can say something about it. Remember, any penalty could change the slip-up in order, too. I want to check quickly. Does Subbing Sock have warnings? He's got warnings, and guess what? If he gets up another warning for track limits, he's got a penalty, and that could change the difference in this race for the lead. Weck has got a penalty himself, though, as we speak about that.
Yeah, Subbing Sock gets one more warning. Yeah, that's a penalty, and that penalty will not only drop him out of the win, but drop him out of the podium.
And that also, I think, does apply for Jab, too. Jab does have 2 warnings as well. So all this could play the difference. And Comac is out of this race. That might bring out a safety car. It does. Late race safety car. This could play the difference for this race. Oh, unbelievable.
Well,
it will
you don't
be a 2-to-go restart.
If you're,
no, you don't. Unless it's the whole field. But that's it. That's the only reason you'd want to pit. But you got to bet on the whole field pitting at that point for new softs. Which I don't see happening. No way. If I'm a driver, that's what I don't want to do that. Well, we'll find out. Yeah, they fake it. Jab and Term fake it. Top 4 staying out. And now, if you're in the back, you might want to pit though. You might. If you're 8th on back, you do want to, or at least think about it. And speaking of that, Weck will pit. Their 5-second penalties will get served here. Louis pits. Rev Caterpillar and Black Raw almost a lap down, so They might be able to catch up. They might not. I don't think so at this point, considering they're now a minute back. But what will be important for them are any DNFs, any trouble, anything else anyone else gets into, because we will be restarting this race this time by, actually. This will be the this is the last chance at it. And you know the top 8 will be up here for sure, but will Weck, Jimbo, Louie be able to catch up on the newer tires? It will be a 2 to restart. This game doesn't do 1 to go, I know that, so that's what will make the difference.
Yeah, you said. Oh, sorry, suck.
Oh my God! Unbelievable!
I was on board with that. He was swerving a little bit too much, and he went off track and got a penalty.
Well, you can tell Term was mad at the fact that Sabing Suck and Finn got lucky there from Comac crashing out of the race. He said they had no ERS, and the safety car is in this time, but I don't think Weck and Jimbo, all of them will catch up. Maybe 1 or 2 of them will, but the safety car is coming in this time. Sabing Suck has to gain 3 seconds there, and guess what? He might be able to peel that. He might not. As of right now, Jab is the leader. Then you have Term and Finn, who are very hungry. Sabing Suck gassing it, then letting off, gassing it, then letting off. Can't get another warning there, but he's trying to go, and he's going to go now. Term on the back of Jab for second place in this race, the net lead. Here we go into turn 1. Side by side, Term's gone ahead. Unbelievable. Unbelievable circumstances that's played into this race, and now he's got a penalty. He's got a penalty. And Finn's down the inside. What has happened in the last minute of this race? Finn around the outside, and he's gonna have to challenge Term for the lead too. It's the net lead. Unbelievable. Side by side between Jab and Finn. Term's lost the rear. 9 cars all within DRS of each other, but there is no DRS for these final 2 laps, so it's all slipstream, overtake, ERS, all to play for, and Finn is challenging Term for the net lead. But right now, the podium would stand as Term, Finn, and Lewis Such. Unbelievable. What circumstances have we seen in these last couple laps, Stretcher? This is crazy.
This is crazy. There's nothing crazier than final lap, and it's having some with the penalty, but we'll come to take the final lap this time.
Black Draw all the way down to 13th. He's got a penalty. That will make a difference, though. That's for sure. They're 23 seconds behind, but for 5th place in this race, and for 4th, actually. Lewis Such gaining on Jab. Not enough for him. Wolf has gone into the pit lane, and he's going to give up points from that. So that's quite shocking, as you have Jab and Lewis Such going side by side at turn 3. Jab forced out. Lewis Such has gone by, and Jab is off the podium, on track, and off of penalties. I told you, if Jab gets into trouble, these championship contenders and the guys who want to challenge him for the championship have to take advantage. Term, Finn, and Sabing Suck have all taking advantage of that. Finn has a couple corners to go if he wants to challenge Term for this race lead. We saw a crash at Sector 3 in the last lap of the Tier 2 race. What does Sabing Suck do to maintain this lead? At least on track and off penalties. Rev Caterpillar, another penalty for him too. That's at the back of the field. But Sabing Suck has put on an amazing performance. AI lagged out, pitting and getting screwed over by the game. Comeback has driven beautifully, but not beautifully enough to get a penalty in the last couple laps. He's gonna win the race on track, but Term will win the race off penalties after spinning from the start. He has taken victory in Portugal. Finn and Lewis round out the podium. Cameron Delando to Jab, and Sabing Suck does have a timing glitch. The admins will have to look over that to see where he finished in this race. Unbelievable. Unbelievable last laps. Term spun off the start with Lewis Such. Him and Lewis Such recovered a 1st and 3rd. That's unbelievable. That's clearly unbelievable. I say it so much because I'm in shock at the way this race has ended. And we'll get the podium sitters in this party. That blows my mind. It really does. That's unbelievable. Well, we mentioned that battle between Term and Jab. Term was able to get by, and Jab had the penalties. Term didn't win it on track, but we'll see what the storage room says about it, because the podium could possibly be Subbing Sock, Term, and Finn. But if the storage choose not to let him appeal the 3 seconds, and remember, he's got to get his race director too, so that matters, but if he decides not to let him appeal the 3 seconds, then the podium stands as it is. And Jab too. A 3-second time penalty cost him the podium. And even getting past, too. He just got swarmed up on that restart. Well, now it will be time to talk to our podium finishers. We've got Finn in here. We've got Such in here. And we'll talk to Term in a moment as he sends in his clip of him getting taken out on the first lap into the Tier 1 general chat. But, so, well, let me just mention quickly. Lando Norris in his Tier 1 debut as a Tier 2 reserve, 15th to 5th. That might be 15th to 6th, though, based off of Subbing Sock's timing glitch. We'll figure that out once that gets sorted. But, hey, we've got podium sitters in here. What a crazy end to that race. First, I want to talk to you, Finn. You help bring out Mercedes' highest finish of the season. Make sure your audio is included.
It is, yeah.
For the podium. You get Mercedes their first podium of the season, their highest finish of the season. Tell me what was kicking off in those last couple laps you hang on for the podium.
Well, I thought that Term and Jab were pit for softs. They didn't. I love how, like, everyone else, like, fights me a lot, though. That's actually quite funny. Because, with Jab, he just lets through, and then with me, he, like, fights me so much. It's stupid. Same with Jimbo as well. He just let Jab through and fights me so much, holds me up for an entire lap. So, that's cool from everyone. You know, I wasn't... I saw Term make a little mistake on lap 32, so I full on miles get him, but it would have been stupid to send it. So, Peter was the max, I guess, today, and, well, yeah, still haven't won for a while, so I'm used to it though. So it's whatever. It's still a good result. At least I actually got some alright points this time. I've had the pace. I've bottled 2 wins this season, I feel. So just get the podium's a decent enough result.
Well, you mentioned how you bottled 2 podiums to start off the season, and I've got to mention, it comes out with mentioning Jab had a poor restart and a poor end of this race with the penalty and everything else that he got. Now, you may mention, why is that important? If anybody wants to put a championship fight to Jab, races like these are why you might want to, and why getting a good result is very important. Do you think you can put the fight to Jab, though, at any point? Is he unstoppable? What's the case
yeah,
with
of course
you and
I can.
Jab?
Well, yeah, of course I can. Of course I can put the fight to him. I've just had 2 bad races in the first 2 of the season. You know, there's still 13 races left in the season. I'm confident I can still win the championship, to be honest. Like, I mean, I may tell the better and the best driver in this tier, but them like using assists and all that, they would gain so much time on this game. They gain ridiculous amounts. So, I know I have the pace to win this championship. I'm definitely the best one in the tier. I've just got to make sure I have the perfect race to beat these guys, because I know Jab's consistent. Term, if he's doesn't make a mistake, he's very quick, so it's difficult to be him, but I know I can win the title, and I feel like I'm the best driver in this tier, so yeah, it's not over yet. It's the 13 races to go, 12 for me most likely. I don't think I'll race next week, but yeah, I'm confident I can still win this title.
Well, let me just mention the fact that before we go on to asking Thrasher if he has any questions, it's good you guys have that motivation. It's good you guys can put the fight to Jab, because that's what makes Tier 1 exciting. 7 pit stops from Louis, by the way. Top 10 points for him. Anyway, Thrasher, do you have any questions for the 2nd place finisher of Finn?
Oh, I got a lot of questions.
Oh,
God.
Oh, Finn.
Here we go.
It's been a little bit, buddy.
Hi, Thrasher.
Hello. No,
Missed
but
you.
in all seriousness, I missed you too, buddy. But in all seriousness, you know, obviously you were up pretty much up front the whole race. You know, you had battles with Jab, you had battles with, you know, Samsung, Term. You know, how did you feel? You know, not just you, but how did you feel like the racing around you was today?
For me personally, it was fine. For what I know, there was a bit chaos at the back, like as usual. For me, it was fine. It was good racing. I enjoyed the battles. It just annoyed me that people let us through a lot easier than I did, which is quite bad. Not that bad, it's sad from others that they just let others through and then they fight me like to death. But the battle, the race itself for me was good today. Apart from that safety car restart, I have no clue what happened there. That was a bit mental. The fact I didn't get taken out was a miracle. But yeah, the race for me was good, anyways.
Well, congratulations on P2.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk to us about an interview. Lewis Such, though, finished on the podium. He made 5 pit stops in this race. Lewis, make sure your audio is included and get in there, Lewis, because you have got yourself a podium after being involved in a first lap accident. You and Term were involved in that one. You both come to finish on the podium. Talk to me about your race and talk to me about the struggles.
That is probably the worst race I've done in my life. First lap, I thought, oh, we're on some air. Got up to 3rd or 4th, and then someone hit me and kind of ruined my race a little bit. And then I was at the back, and I was like, all right, there might be a safety car. Maybe not. There was a safety car, and then my own teammate hit me under the safety car. Someone brake checked me in the safety car, so I had to pit again. It was just one of them races where nothing was going right for me until the end of the race, where I kind of eventually got up to 3rd. What I'm quite pleased with how the race went for me, because it was just atrocious. And some of the racing standards today around me was just, you don't want to be at the back. It's horrendous. So yeah, for one.
Well, I will tell you, I do agree with that, especially as a commentator, and I'm sure Thrasher could agree, especially as a Tier 4 driver. You don't want to see those type of standards in Tier 1. That's something the stewards and the admins, I'm sure, will talk about after this race, and we'll probably talk to the drivers about, too, because you don't want to have a repeat of that.
Yeah, it was just
Speaking
awful.
about your race, though, I got to ask you about the lap 1 collision, because I saw it in the chat. Term posted it. Term wasn't happy about it, even though he won the race. Wasn't happy about it. Talk to me about the lap 1 collision, though, with Term. You guys collided at turn 4. You may have forced him out slightly at turn 3, but it left you both side by side at turn 4 to stay side by side. You two ended up colliding. Talk to me about that one and the difference it made from being at the back to challenging back at the front for your race.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's 50-50 for me. I think I was ahead by quite a lot, and then I just got clipped, and I was just a bit. I did force him a little bit wide, not too wide, but a little bit wide, and then he just hit me. But it's one of them. I think it affected my race quite a lot. I think I could have probably been challenging for maybe top spot or something, because I like Portimao's one of the best tracks, but just not today, I guess. But I probably could have been up there maybe a bit more, but I didn't really enjoy the race today. Like, I like battling, but the battling today was just like you're getting hit every time, so it weren't really a fun race. But I've got 15 points, and I'll take that. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. That's what's important to look at it. And my final question for you is about next week. Next week we go into Austria. It's the final race of the February month, and I've got to ask, what are the expectations into that race for you, considering you just took a podium out of a crazy race, and something that you mentioned as, is it fair to say ridiculous driving standards?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I got a podium in Bahrain, missed second race. I'd say another podium. Race week, I just wanted the podium. If you stay that consistent, you've got a chance of winning the title. So, and I think Austria, the main thing for me will be no track limits, because today track limits, if you don't get track limits, it works a lot. So I'd say podium or the win, but I would take a podium. Every podium for me is a plus. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to enjoy that one though, because I feel like Portimao is a track where not many incidents happen, but Austria, I think if it's like today, it's going to be 10 times worse. That's all I've got to say. Yeah.
Well, congrats on the podium.
Sound.
Thrasher, do you have any questions?
No, I don't, but just a great drive overall from the back. to
Nice
the
one.
front.
Cheers. Thank.
See ya.
See ya. Oh, thank you. So Thrasher, let's talk about that race quickly. Driving standards were concerning, especially if you're an admin or a Tier 1 driver. What did you take about it? Because you mentioned the driving standards, and they weren't that great, if I'm being completely honest. If we're gonna be honest about it, it was not that great.
Yeah, there was a bunch of just a bunch of wrecks throughout the race. I mean, I've seen a lot better, but I think Tier 1, they got a week till Austria. I think they can clean up their act, and we'll see a better race driving standards-wise next week.
I agree with that. I think as long as the admins say something about it, as long as enough drivers stand up about it with some of the driving today, I think something will be done about it, and they'll probably change their attitude for the upcoming races. Which, speaking of that, let's go over the next upcoming 3 races before, obviously, Tier 4 finishes tomorrow, which it'll be interesting to see what you expect tomorrow for this race as of what you've seen today and what you saw in Tier 3. Let me mention the next 3 races, then we'll talk about Tier 4 quickly. Austria, Britain, then Russia. So 3 different type of tracks, 3 interesting tracks, and we'll see how that all goes. Thrasher, Tier 4 expectations for tomorrow?
Wreckfest.
Okay.
That's just one word, Wreckfest.
Yeah. I don't blame you on that. I don't.
Well,
I do want to ask Jab at least at some point, and you could maybe ask him because we talked about the KFC. I think, or no, was it not
it was
KFC?
Chick-fil-A.
What was it? The Popeyes? Oh yeah, the Chick-fil-A's. I keep getting all the different type of stores mixed up. We'll ask Jab about the Chick-fil-A at some point because I don't know if he wants to go to Chick-fil-A after a performance like that, because that really sucks being the championship leader and then having that all happen. That's crazy. But continue with what you were gonna say and end off the stream.
I was just gonna pretty much say, thank you for everyone, who tuned in today. It was, may not have been the best race driving standards wise, but, it was a little entertaining at the end, with the finishes and, the penalties with the jab and the sock. Obviously, sock will probably back up the grid a little bit with this timing glitch, but,
Sure.
I think it was a very race. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow for Tier 4. Also, since Ryan stole it from me earlier, one last
Waiting
time,
for
make
it.
sure you tune in. Obviously, it's Tier 4 stream tomorrow, but also go to SilentXEnergy.com. They have energy drinks. We are coming up with merch here in a little bit. So it is just a beautiful website created by who used to be GSR Silent. But appreciate him and sponsoring GSR. But tune in tomorrow for Tier 4 and go check out the website SilentXEnergy.com.
Well, if one thing's for sure tomorrow, if we saw the chaos we saw today in Tier 2 and Tier 1, and even yesterday in Tier 3 with crazy moves being made for the lead and everything else, then we're about to see it tomorrow in Tier 4. Tune into that. Tomorrow, that's 3:30 Eastern, 8:30 UK? What's the deal there?
3:30.
All right, yep. Okay, cool. Well, tune in then for Tier 4. Thrash will be racing that tomorrow. If you enjoy listening to him, or if you enjoy watching him, then I guess tune into that. That should be a lot of fun. We'll see you tomorrow. And we'll also see you next week for Tier 1 if you're wanting to tune in for that in Austria. This is Ryan Ocon, 31, and GSR Thrasher 9319, signing off.